Hi there, I am MisterBo, and today we're going to be talking about the future of the Crash Bandicoot franchise and what is possibly coming up next now that Crash Bandicoot 4 is out. And yes, I know Crash Bandicoot 4 is only a month old, and we don't know if we're going to be getting, say, any DLC for Crash 4 to help it sort of live on beyond just the normal launch. But in this video, we're going to be talking about maybe what is coming up next year for Crash, and then the year after, and perhaps the year after that, and where Crash as a franchise is heading. Now, I don't want this just to be a video that you watch and you're done with. I want this to be a conversation. So in the comments below, let me know where you want the Crash franchise to go next. What do you want the next game to be? Do you want it to be Crash 5? Do you want it to be a spin-off game? Where do you hope the game goes in, say, 5 years from now? And maybe I do a roundup of all your ideas and put them into a separate video. Now, I haven't done one of these in quite some time, and the last time I did do it, well, we gained, I think, like 100 new subscribers. So I'm going to throw this up here just for you guys who maybe aren't subscribed. And that is, at the time of this recording, 89.1% of people watching my content are not subscribed. I know a load of new people have found my content since the release of Crash 4, and if you're one of those people who just aren't subscribed yet, then think about subscribing to help support my content and hopefully help this channel grow. Our next big milestone is 30,000 subscribers, and I definitely think we can hit it sooner rather than later. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's talk about what is next for Crash. So the next big thing for Crash is the Crash Bandicoot mobile game. Crash Bandicoot on the Run, it looks like it's going to be launching spring 2021 around the sort of March time. And we've already seen a lot of gameplay and a lot of trailers detailing what this game is. It's basically an endless runner, but at the same time it's not endless. It actually looks like it's a lot of fun. One of those games that you can just kind of hop on, maybe play a few levels, upgrade your base and stuff like that, and then hop off. And then every so often just hop back on and keep leveling up. We know there are going to be different seasons and battle passes to level up, as well as different characters making appearances, some of those being like Nina Cortex, Embryo, Dingodile, Cortex, and even Mr. Crumb, with more to come. It seems like they're really going all out on this game, and according to Activision and King, they hope this is as big as Candy Crush. Now, Candy Crush is a pretty big game. It seems to have around 9 to 10 million monthly users, and if they can take that same amount of monthly users and transition them onto a Crash Bandicoot game, well, that is only good things for the rest of the franchise. We saw the Insane Trilogy and Nitro Fueled sell about 10 million units, and I'm sure most of the people who play games like Candy Crush are maybe not the same kind of people who are going to be playing a game like Crash Team Racing. So if you can introduce them into this new Crash mobile game, that then might push them onto the normal Crash console games. We could be seeing more sales for the mainline console games in the next couple of years, which would be exciting to see. So the Crash mobile game is the next Crash game we're going to be seeing, and again, the development for that game seems like it's going to be quite a long one. It seems like they want this game to live on for a couple of years at least. But beyond the mobile game, what is next? Are we going to be getting Crash 5? Well, yeah, we probably are going to be getting Crash 5 as hinted at the end of Crash Bandicoot 4. When will we be seeing Crash 5 though? Well, probably not for another 2 to 3 years. 2022 at the earliest. Most likely though, 2023. Crash Bandicoot 4 seemed to take around 3 years of development. Most likely the first year was kind of coming up with the brand new style and theme for Crash, and now that they have that locked down, development might be a little bit quicker than what we saw with Crash 4, but it really depends on the direction they take the game. If they stick to what we saw in Crash 4 and make it the traditional Crash platformer, then we might be seeing it in, say, 2022. But if they maybe switch it up and make it more like a game, say, Crash Twinsanity or Crash Mind Over Mutant, where it's more of an open 3D platformer game that I know a lot of people wanted for Crash 4, then we might be seeing it in 2023. Personally, I hope it's the latter. While I do like Crash 4, I feel like it probably plays it a little bit safe, which isn't a bad thing. You're reintroducing Crash as a brand new game. You probably want to play it a little bit safe, add in these new elements that make it fresh, but make it also very familiar. I think they can probably step outside the comfort zone and make maybe a game that is similar to Twinsanity, but is something completely brand new. I think if we do get a repeat of what we saw with Crash 4, then maybe people won't be that excited for it. We are still waiting on official sales numbers for Crash 4. Obviously, it's only been out a month yet, but it will be very interesting to see how many units this game sells, say, in a year's time, and how that stacks up to a game like the Insane Trilogy, as well as Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Sticking with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled though, while we may not be getting any more updates for Nitro Fueled, I don't think that's the last we've seen of a Crash kart racing game. In fact, I think we'll probably be seeing one sooner rather than later. Again, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled sold 10 million units, and I believe it is actually the best-selling Crash Bandicoot game to date, and it just makes too much sense for Activision not to want to make another kart racing game in the Crash universe. I think Activision sees Crash as their Mario. They can bring out these main tentpole games with Crash 4, with Crash 5, with Crash 6, and then in between them, they break that up with the spin-off games like your kart races and your party games, and who knows what else. Now, do I think we'll see a kart racing game next from Crash? Probably not. Let's revisit the rumor that came out at the beginning of the year quickly. So at the beginning of the year, we got a leak or a rumor from the Gaming Revolution, who has had a pretty good track record inside of Call of Duty, leaking out Modern Warfare's Warzone, Battle Royale, and a load of other stuff. They put up a post earlier in the year that detailed we were going to be seeing Crash Bandicoot 4 this year. That was before it was even announced. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, again before it was even announced. The codename for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which was Project Zeus, which I believe turned out to be legit. They also said that there was going to be a new PvP Call of Duty game developed by Sledgehammer Games for next year, as well as a PvP Crash Bandicoot game that was in early development, again scheduled for next year. Now at the time, a lot of people had assumed if this is indeed legit, it's most likely going to be something along the lines of, say, Crash Bash, but getting the Nitro Fueled treatment. Say you get the main Crash Bash game that we all remember, whether you love it or you hate it, but then they add onto that a load of new minigames and stuff like that, maybe a brand new campaign, as well as a bunch of characters. Now it would make sense if that is indeed what we're getting, that it was only in early development, because it's most likely going to be using the new look we're seeing with Crash 4, and that probably wasn't nailed down until around 2 years ago. Now if this PvP game is still in development and it's still going to come out next year, obviously a lot has happened since that rumor. It could be pushed back to 2022, we don't know, but I think it's a safe bet that it would be a Crash Bash Nitro Fueled style game. The other possibility, this PvP game could be a brand new kart racer like we just mentioned. I 100% think we are getting a brand new kart racer sometime soon. Whether that's in a year or two, I don't know, but we will 100% get a brand new Crash Bandicoot kart racer in the future. I've already done a video talking about my ideas for a Nitro Fueled sequel, but that was before Crash 4 even got released, and I've had a lot more ideas since then, so if you'd like to see my ideas for what you could get in a Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled 2, let me know and I'll do an updated video in the future. So I think if we are indeed getting a new Crash game next year, the main contenders are a Crash Bash remake, remaster, or a new kart racing game. Of course, there are some other ideas in there, like maybe a fighting game, but I think the party game and the kart racing game are the most likely choices and are probably the most likely games to actually do well in terms of sales. There aren't really that many good party games outside of, say, Mario Party, and with Crash being such a beloved franchise and the whole range of characters and all the different things they could probably do for mini games, I think it would actually sell really well, and it would probably even attract those people who maybe aren't even fans of Crash. Now, I have also seen some speculation saying maybe the PvP game is the mobile game. And yes, while the mobile game does have 4-player PvP online play in it, I don't think that is the PvP game. Otherwise, I think the leak would maybe have called it a mobile game and not a PvP game. The other thing that then comes up is, are you sure we're going to be getting a Crash Bandicoot game next year? Because it looks like we're probably going to be getting a new Spyro game next year. And we've seen Activision aren't really afraid to release multiple games in the same year. Take for instance, this year we saw Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 come out in September, then in October, Crash 4, and then in November, we're getting Call of Duty. And we've had Crash every year for the last 4 years. We had the Insane Trilogy release on PlayStation 4. We then had the Insane Trilogy release on Xbox, PC, and Switch, alongside the Spyro Reignited Trilogy launching the same year. We then got Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled's launch, and then we've had Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time's launch. So it is definitely a possibility that we'll get again another Crash Bandicoot game next year, or they might just decide to take a break, put all their emphasis on this brand new mobile game, maybe release a few DLC packs for Crash Bandicoot 4, whether that's just skins or maybe some new levels, to sort of keep that game going long enough to where they can then put out a brand new game. There's certainly a lot they could do there, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go with the Crash franchise. Again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this is not just a one-way dialogue. I want to know from you guys, what do you want to see? Do you think we're going to be getting a Crash game next year, this PvP rumored game? And if you do, what do you think it's going to be? Is it Crash Bash? Is it Nitro Fuel 2? Is it something completely different? Maybe we're not going to get a game next year, and then in 2 years we get Crash Bandicoot 5, which adds maybe a new style of play to the Crash formula and continues on the story, and then maybe the year after that we get, say, Nitro Fuel 2. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below, and hopefully I didn't ramble on too much in this video. As I mentioned, if you would like to see my new updated ideas for Nitro Fuel 2, then let me know in the comments below and I'll do a video on that. If you are one of the people who again are not subscribed, then make sure you subscribe, because there's going to be a lot more Crash content on the channel in the next coming weeks. There's also going to be a ton of other games, because we're in that season now where it feels like there is a new game launch every day, and of course we have the next gen consoles about a week away, which is very exciting. Hopefully I can get my hands on one on day one. I'm going to be covering all sorts of games in the next couple of weeks that you won't want to miss, and hopefully you guys are excited for that. If you'd like to stay up to date with me, you can follow me over on Twitter at @IamMisterBo. You can also join our Discord server as well. Links to both of those in the description below. Apart from all of that though, thank you very, very much for hanging out with me. I really, really do appreciate it. Hopefully I will see you in some of my future content. But until then, as always, make sure you take care. Bye-bye.